Shalom. Welcome to another episode of the Cold Spirit channel. My name is Priest Brother Tawar Bakar, and continuing on with the mini mega part series concerning Revelation, the 9th chapter. I broke down verse 1 with the Holy Spirit, through the Holy Spirit to the best of my ability, with the precepts included concerning that for the hour that I filmed. The last video segment I did concerning Revelation, the 9th chapter, as per request from a fellow Israelite that I know. Now, concerning part 2 of this, I will be going into verse 2 and possibly other few verses after that. Here in Revelation 9, just to get the understanding, okay, of verse 2, which I will start off at. Because I left off at verse 1, but I ended it through the Holy Spirit. Now, Revelation 9 and 2 says, and he opened the bottomless pit. Which we already went into what that bottomless pit was representing. And there arose a smoke out of the pit. So we already understand what that pit was representing, okay, in the last video that we did, okay. We understand that that pit was talking about a land region on this earth, okay, referring to the caves of Europe, okay. So now it says, and as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Right. So now let's get the understanding and break it down precept by precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, concerning this. Now, the smoke and darkness represents the day of the Lord. Okay, let's get that understanding. The day of the Lord represents destruction. Okay, chaos, bloodshed, and death. That's what the smoke and the darkness represents, destruction. And basically that's going to occur in the day of the Lord. Okay, let's prove that. Hold that. Let's get Joel chapter 2 verse 1 to further prove that. When I opened up the video, okay, in part 1 concerning the breakdown of Revelation 9, I told you through the Spirit that it was sort of parallel, okay, it was sort of parallel to Joel the 2nd chapter. And I told you when you read Joel the 2nd chapter, okay, you will get the understanding somewhat of what Revelation 9 is going into. Alright, but like I told you before, the Old Testament prophets basically spoke of things, and the New Testament revelation, which was done by the Apostle John, basically reiterated and went into more in depth concerning what was already spoken by the prophet Daniel and by the prophet Joel, as among others. But focusing on the prophet Joel, one of the minor prophets, okay, as called by scholars, okay. Let's go into chapter 2, verse 1 of his book. Joel chapter 2, verse 1 says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, which represents the nation of Israel, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. So the holy mountain represents what? Mount Zion, okay, in Jerusalem. So this lets you know that there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be going down in the land of Israel, okay, in these last days. Israel will always be the focal point of what's about to happen in the day of the Lord concerning destruction, okay, as far as the land goes, as well as the people. The people in Israel right now, the bulk of them are not the real Jews, okay. The real Jews are the so-called Negroes scattered throughout North, Central, and South America, as well as the Native and Seminole Indians, meaning of the Israelites, as well as the Latinos of the Israelites of so-called Indian descent that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. These are who they will be known as today. They are the real Jews and Israelites. The so-called white man out there and his people in the land of Israel, the so-called Israelis, okay, they are from the Khazarian Empire, out of Ashkenaz, okay, they are the sons and daughters of Esau, okay, located in the land of Israel today. But the Most High is letting you know that there's going to be a lot of trembling and a lot of destruction that's going to occur in that land region over there in the land of Israel, okay, for these last days. It says, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. That's referring to what? World War III, which also represents the second coming of Christ the Messiah. A so-called black man with woolly hair, not Caucasian, okay, like the average person has a depiction of Jesus on their wall or in these churches, which promote white supremacy. But the Bible gives you the depiction of Christ as something totally different than what the so-called white race promotes in the churches and throughout the world in the media and in Hollywood, as well as the Jews, which are black. Now, verse 2, it says, the day of the Lord, okay, is a day of darkness and gloominess. So that goes to show you that when you read about Revelation 9 concerning that smoke and that darkness, that's representing the day of the Lord. So it says a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. What is smoke? Smoke is nothing but like a cloud, creates dark clouds. Like if a smoke was to burn in a forest, a fire rather, burn in a forest, what's it going to create in the atmosphere? Smoke. Black, dark smoke, depending on the high intensity of the fire, what's burning underneath. Then it says, as the morning spread upon the mountains, okay, just like clouds spread upon the mountains in the morning, that's how the smoke is going to be over there in the land of Israel. A great people and strong, there have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it. That's talking about the armies of the Lord that's going to come down and invade, okay, so-called life here on earth. Then it says, even to the years of many generations. So the army of the Lord is coming back, okay, or returning, and they're basically appearing for the first time on this earth to destroy humans. Okay, so basically when that day occurs, there's not going to be anything, there has never been anything like that ever recorded or seen event on this earth, and there never shall be. In that day, that's what Joel is going into concerning the day of the Lord. Now, we read verse 2. Okay, well, we already read verse 2, Salat. Drop down to verse 10. You can read the chapter on your own, obviously, apparently, but verse 10 says, the earth shall quake before them, referring to the armies of the Lord. The heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. So we read about those stars in Isaiah 14, okay, talking about the elite amongst Lucifer. Different from that particular star in verse 1 of Revelation 9 that was sent down here on the earth with a key, okay, concerning his dealings with the bottomless pit, which is the caves of Europe. You understand? So now what we're going into is concerning the day of the Lord, World War III, the second coming, in the midst of that, Armageddon, all that rolled in one, whichever, the Gentiles, which you call it, the apocalypse, whatever. But when that day occurs, there's going to be a lot of destruction and a lot of smoke, okay? And when there's smoke, there's fire, pretty much, right? A lot of great fervent heat. All that, like it tells you in 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, goes into the destruction in the last days of the Lord concerning the nuclear destruction, the fallout, and all types of weaponry that the Gentiles will be imposing on each other. In the midst of that, okay, the armies of the Lord are going to come down to invade, okay, to take down and wipe out all these Gentile armies. And the leader of the armies of the Lord will be Christ himself, the Messiah. As prophesied in the book of Daniel, he's going to conquer, he's going to take down all these worldly kingdoms by destroying all their armies. Because what holds these kingdoms in place is their armies. Once the armies are annihilated and destroyed, they will have no more power. So therefore, their sovereignty on earth will come to an abrupt end. And Christ himself will declare himself victor in that day. Okay, so let's go back to Revelation, okay, the 9th chapter. But we're not done with Joel 2, so you might want to keep your hand on that. We're going to go into Joel 2, okay, in a little bit. But let's reiterate Revelation 9, verse 2. It says, and he opened the bottomless pit. Okay, so that represents what's going to be going down, okay, coming out the caves of Europe. And there arose a smoke out of the pit. That smoke represents what? The day of the Lord and destruction. Okay? And as the smoke of a great furnace, like it tells you in 2 Peter 3 and Malachi the 4th chapter, that describe that destruction as like as burning as an oven. Okay? And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. So, like it says, the clouds are going to be flying above the mountains, just like the morning clouds fly above on the top of the mountains. Basically, anything underneath those mountains are going to be covered by that cloud. So the smoke is going to be covering everything underneath. So that's going to cause darkness and gloominess, in which that is not going to be a pretty day at all. Okay, if the sun will be out during that day, guess what? It's going to be darkened. It's going to be like it's cloudy because of all the destruction that's going to be going, the smoke and the burning and the smell that's going to be in the atmosphere is going to cause the sun to be darkened out. So that represents destruction that's going to occur in the day of the Lord. Okay, hold that. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 14, verse 31. Okay, so here's the book of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 31. It says, howl, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestina. Now Palestina is northern Israel. So Isaiah prophesied in the 14th chapter that guess what? Palestine is going to be invaded. It's basically, that's where the Russian army is going to come in through. That's why you see a lot of conflict in Syria with the Russians are being involved, and the United States of America, Southern Russia, be warned and stay out of it. Okay, but what you have to understand is, it like that star, like we read, that star, because those people over there in Russia are a combination of Esau and Japheth. Japheth being the aborigines of Europe, and then Edomites that are mixing amongst them. They're controlling, okay, the armies of Russia today and the government, okay, underneath that particular Illuministic family under Esau. All right, so they're known in the Bible as Gog in Ezekiel the 38th chapter. So what they don't is what you mortals understand is this is the will of the Lord, because you want to allocate rights to faggots and you want to continue to disobey the words of the Lord. And Paul already told you, Gentiles, in Romans 11th chapter, what's going to happen if you continue. Okay, you're going to fall just like the Israelites fell. Okay, and basically this is the beginning. This is your fall. We prophesying about, which was already foretold, the end of the Gentile sovereignty and rulership. You're being cast out. So in the midst of your fall, so what you got going on in Russia right now is they can't stop, but to help themselves to get involved with Syria. Syria is right north of Israel, basically, pretty much. Russia is going to contact and control Syria, okay? And when they control Syria and contact, they're going to invade Palestine, okay? That's northern Israel. They're going to go right through there through Syria, okay? So the Most High is telling you right here that be careful of how Palestinians, because a lot of Palestinians are going to die, okay, when the armies of God come through. Okay, with Magog, which is the Chinese, okay, for example, Southern Europe as mercenaries amongst their army as well, because they all pay elite to Russia, because Russia controls the pipeline over there. They control the powers, okay, electricity and gas and oil reserves over in Europe is predominantly controlled by Russia. Okay, so basically Southern Europe answers to Russia at the end of the day, or Russia will turn the lights off. So they're going to have to give allegiance to that military buildup that's going on over there. So the Most High says, how, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestine, the whole northern Israel will be invaded, art dissolved. They're going to be dissolved and destroyed by the armies of God. For there shall come from the north a smoke. Now, north of Palestine represents the caves of Europe. Russia's going to come right through there. So when you read about the smoke that's coming out the bottomless pit, that represents the minds of the angel or the star working on, okay, the armies of God. And basically they're creating a gigantic army that's going to come through there. They're going to come through Syria and Palestine, and basically that land region where Russia is mainly centered at is basically the caves of Europe, which goes right into South Russia. Okay, that's where the army is going to be coming through, and they're going to go south. They're going to go through Syria. Okay, they're going to be coming from the likes of Armenia, and they're going to come through Syria, and they're basically going to invade northern Palestine. When they invade northern Palestine, it's going to be a major destruction. And that smoke is basically going to come out from that Caves of Europe region, and it's going to go into Palestine. So it says, for there shall come forth from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed times. So let's go to Joel chapter 2, verse 20. Hold that against Joel 2 and 20. Okay, because that represents the day of the Lord and a great destruction. Okay, like I said, Joel the 2nd chapter, if you can understand that, you can understand basically half of Revelation 9. Because they parallel with one another. Okay, so like I was telling you guys before, man, these prophets all reiterate off of one another. And like the scripture said, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. I'm going to read Joel chapter 2, verse 20 first. And it says, but I will remove far from off of you the northern army. Okay, so there's going to be armies that's going to be centered in that region. And mainly the northern army is referring to basically the gigantic army presence that's going to be over there. Okay, and one of that main army focal points is going to be over there in the land region of Israel is going to be the United States Army. They're going to be removed from off of there when Christ makes the second coming. Because there's going to be a military buildup north of Israel and around and centered around the region of Israel. And will drive him into the land barren and desolate, and his face toward the East Sea. And the East Sea represents what? The Persian Gulf. Okay? What is known as the Persian Gulf today. And his hinder part toward the utmost sea, which represents the Great Sea or the Mediterranean. So in between the Persian Gulf and and on the Mediterranean Sea, you got basically the ancient Babylonian Empire in the form of its crescent when it did rule and control. That's where a lot of destruction in World War III is going to be present at, for the most part, centered in that region. Okay, you got countries like Iran, Iraq, in that location, Syria, basically, you got Israel, definitely going to be a focal point, Jordan, okay, Saudi Arabia to the south of that. Okay, that's what you got going on. The Mossad is going to remove all their armies. Okay, the North American Army, NATO, okay, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, their armies is going to be involved. The Mossad said, I'm going to remove the Northern Army. And it says, and his ill savor should come up because he have done great things. So the Northern Army is controlled by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, otherwise known as NATO, which is one of the top military ports for the Luministic families. Okay, which are the Edomites that control this hierarchy. So the Mossad is going to remove them. So they're not going to be a threat when we get over there into that land region, meaning the real Jews and Israelites. Christ is going to remove them. So when the real Israelites, meaning the blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, when we come into power and we start stepping foot in those lands over there, all those armies are going to be removed by Christ, so they're not going to be a threat to us. Christ's going to conquer, destroy all those armies with the invasion that he got coming in, okay? Which like what we read in Joel the 2nd chapter, verses 1 through 2, okay? And then when you read verse 10 to get that full understanding, okay? So let's go back to Revelation 9, okay? So this is Revelation chapter 9, verse 2. And he opened the bottomless pit, which is the caves of Europe, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, which represents destruction in the day of the Lord, as the smoke of a great furnace, which is going into the nuclear fire as well. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. So basically, that destruction that's going to come over there from the caves of Europe, meaning from through Russia, guess what? That's going to cause great destruction. In Palestine, like we just read in Isaiah 14, it's going to cause great destruction for that whole, okay, so-called ancient Mesopotamian region, okay, or Sumer, okay, that whole land region between the Persian Gulf, which is east of Iran, and to the Mediterranean Sea, which is west of Israel. There's going to be great destruction coming through, and the armies of God is going to come right through Syria, which is going to come in Palestine, which is going to go right into Israel, meaning Jerusalem. Okay, that's what we got going on right there. Okay, so let's get Joel the 2nd chapter again. Okay, now let's drop down to verse 30. Like I said, you can read Joel on your own, and Joel the 2nd chapter breakdown is like a different show on its own. But the two correlate and parallel with each other half the time. Okay, let's get Joel chapter 2. Okay, let's get Joel chapter 2, verse 30. And it says, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke, fire and pillars of smoke. That's what's going to happen. Those are the wonders. Okay, a lot of destruction, a lot of fire, and a lot of smoke, like we read in Revelation 9, like we read in Isaiah 14. All right, Joel the 2nd chapter, keep reiterating that as far as me in the day of the Lord. Now drop to verse 31. It says, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. So this representing all type of things and events that's going to go down, even in as far as in the cosmos. Different signs that the Lord told us don't be dismayed at when you read Jeremiah 10. These events are going to basically forecasting the day of the Lord. That's why you're seeing strange things going up in the sky, such as blood moons and things of that nature, eclipses, things of that nature. A lot of these things mean and foretell the day of the Lord is coming. Okay? And basically when that occurs, it's going to cause a lot of destruction, fire, and smoke. Like what Joel is saying. That's what is going on in Revelation, the 9th chapter. Okay, let's go back to Revelation chapter 9 again, so you get the full, better understanding. Revelation, okay, chapter 9, verse 2. And he opened the bottomless pit, which is the caves of Europe, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, which represents destruction and gloominess of the day of the Lord, as the smoke of a great furnace. Right, because just like it spoke about in Malachi the 4th chapter, okay, the day shall come and shall burn as an oven. Oven and furnace are synonymous objects. And it says, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Like you read, like it tells you in Joel, okay, just like the darkness and the clouds and the smoke are going to hover over us like the morning clouds hover over mountains. It's like a scenic route. You travel real early in the morning, okay, like, for example, when you travel through, what's those mountains over there in Arizona? When I drove to Cali, I ran through them. I forgot the name of those mountains. The Great, not the Grand Canyon. Is that the Grand Canyon? Forgot. it just slipped my mind. But when I drove through there early in the morning, I saw like clouds up there in the top of the mountain peaks. You know, okay, and it might be the Grand Canyon. I'm not sure, but and it's like it was real early in the morning. The night then settled away. Like the sun didn't even touch the top yet. A lot of clouds hovered over because that was like the morning clouds do that bypass the mountains. Okay, it goes like that in the islands as well. So that's how it's going to be over us in the day of the Lord. Okay, when that destruction comes, okay, it's going to be like clouds of darkness and smoke hovering over the atmosphere. That's going to basically blocking out the sun. And there's also going to be actual signs in the sun, more eclipses, and there's going to be more blood moons and things of that nature, or whatever the heathens lose their minds over whenever these sights, okay, are foretold in the atmosphere, so-called meteor showers, whatever. All this is pinpointing to the calendar of the shortness of the days to come concerning the day of the Lord that shall appear. Okay, so now let's go to verse 9 in the book of Revelation. Now verse 3, Verse 3 says, and there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth. Now, out of that smoke, which is going to be around the caves of Europe region, there came out locusts upon the earth. And it says, and unto them was given power. So meaning that these locusts are going to have a lot of power. As the scorpions of the earth have power. So what the scorpions of the earth have power? What the scorpions do, they're very poisonous and venomous, and they sting from their tails. Okay, so now when John saw these visions coming from the caves of Europe, or coming from the bottomless pit, rose a great smoke, which represents destruction and death that's coming from that region. Okay, he saw locusts. Okay, and he's described those locusts as having power like scorpions. So when you get to understanding, the locusts represents, what do locusts do? So you gotta understand something, that the type of technology that is now in the midst of us today, we're talking about something that was prophesied about a little over 2,000 years ago, about 2,100 years ago, and no such technology or no such objects, animated objects, was ever seen by man before. So John looking upon these things, and look, they look like locusts to me, because locusts was a very popular creature back then. You don't hear about them too much now, although they still exist. But back there, okay, locusts were very, very known, and they were very notorious amongst farmers, because they tear up your crops. Locusts tear up your crops, and they usually fly in swarms. Okay, so locusts represents devouration. That's what they do. What does a locust do? They come in swarms and devour stuff. They devour the crops. Remember, when you read the parables in the scriptures, Christ referred to the day of the Lord as taking the wheat from amongst the tares. And he also referred to the day of the Lord as harvest. So to the Lord, this ain't nothing but plantation here concerning the crops. Okay? Now, when locusts come through, they come through your crops and they devour stuff. They tear up stuff to eat up your vegetation. That's why farmers today, they put those chemicals in the air, those chemtrails or whatever, or they spray the field to keep those locusts off the vegetation and the crops of the farmers. So locusts represent a devouring army. That's what they represent. And they fly in swarms. Okay? And basically that represents the air force of these countries, and that represents the military, their ground troops. Okay? So the armies represents, mainly is going into their planes. There's going to be a great swarm of aerial assault, because locusts do fly. And it's going to be aerial bombardment. Okay, meaning bombs are going to be dropped down, and most of the time the bombs are centered towards the middle to the back, okay, of these aircraft carriers, okay, that they got going on. So let's get Joel chapter 1 verse 6. Okay, so this is like a parable. The locust is representing, okay, like an invading army coming from the air. That's all he represents, and that invading army coming from the air is going to cause destruction in its path. Okay, give me Joel chapter 1 verse 6. It says, for a nation has come up upon my land. Okay, so what land, what nation is that going to be? Okay, that nation that's going to come upon the land represents what? That represents Gog and Magog. Okay, as well as American NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay, so notice, and it say the people said the land. So although this is some stuff that's going to happen, like what we read about, you got to put the pieces together. And it says, strong and without number. okay, whose teeth are the teeth of a lion, and he hath the cheek teeth of a great lion. So we get to understanding, basically the teeth of a lion represents power and destruction, and represents fear. Okay, because how does a lion show fear to its prey? It growls. And when a lion growls, or it roars rather, it shows its teeth. So showing your teeth, showing your claws is just showing is another way of saying showing your might or your power. Okay, so this is going to be a might, great, gigantic, power-feared army that's going to be building up, coming and invading the land of Israel. That's basically what we got going on here. Okay, so let's prove that. Hold that. Let's go. Let's drop down. We're gonna cover this anyways, but I just want to read real quick verses 7 and 8 of Revelation, the 9th chapter. Okay, because we just read about those locusts, which represents the invading armies from the air, and it can include the ground troops as well. Okay, but it's mainly going to be an aerial assault here. Okay, and it says right here, Revelation 9 verse 7, and the shape of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle. Okay, so that represents they're going to have ground troops too. Okay, so this is just an invading army, both through air and through ground. This is going to be a coalition. Okay, and it says, like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. Okay, so now it goes to show you that basically who these people are. Okay, it's not literally most locusts is men. Okay, but the swarm is coming through like that of a locust, or like that. Now I'm going to break down verse 7 later on in Revelation 9. But the point here is verse 8. And they had hair as the hair of women. Okay, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. So when you go to Joel chapter 1, verse 6, it says, whose teeth are the teeth of a lion. That's why I keep telling you, Joel and Revelation 9 coexist. It's like back and forth. When John saw these visions in Revelation, the Most High just expounded to John exactly what he showed unto Joel and what he showed unto Daniel and like he showed unto Ezekiel. All the prophecies of the major and minor prophets in the Old Testament were all put together concerning these last days in what is called the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is a combination, a reiteration, and expoundation of the old prophets, the major prophets, and the minor prophets of the Old Testament. That's why I keep telling you, men that don't believe in the Old Testament, you're not going to have understanding of the Bible then. That's why I keep telling you, men that don't believe in the New Testament, you're not going to have understanding of these last days in the Bible then. Because the Old and the New Testament are like hand and glove. They come together, okay? And it's a book. Like Christ said, I come in the volume of the book. Like David said, I come in the volume of the book. Christ was quoting David because David was foretelling of Christ. Okay? Come in the volume of the book. So Joel spoke of this army. Same thing John spoke about. Damn near over 1,000 years later. John spoke of the same thing. Their teeth were as of lions, which shows their might. Okay? And the hair of women represents their glory and their magnificence. Like that tells you that the hair of a woman is a crown. So the glory and magnificence represent this is going to be a beautiful campaign, coalition, powerful military buildup that's going to be going on here. Okay, it's not literally talking about they have hair of women like they got long hair. Okay, no, it's symbolically representing the glory or the top elite of the military, and the buildup is going to be a beautiful, fearful coalition site. That's going to happen. It's going to come out the caves of Europe, and it's going to go into Syria, and it's going to go through Palestine, and then finally it's going to go into Israel, like it tells in Joel chapter 1 verse 6. The armies into my land. Okay, so this is all prophesied, okay, to happen in these last days. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 9. Okay. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 9 verse 2. And it says, and he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit. So the bottomless pit once again represents the caves of Europe. The smoke represents death and destruction that's going to occur in the day of the Lord. The great furnace, as foretold of the last days, like in Malachi the 4th chapter, the day that shall burn as an oven. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of this pit. Now there came out of that smoke locusts upon the earth, which represented the aerial coalition army. and unto them were given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. So now let's go to Joel chapter 2, verse 11. Okay? Let's go to Joel chapter 2, verse 11. Like I told you, keep your hand on the book of Joel, because basically it's like, it's just a reiteration. Okay? Joel chapter 2, verse 11. And it says, and the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong and executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? So who's that referring to? That's referring to the angels of war. Okay, the angels of war is basically who the Lord is going to have, okay, come with Christ, or they're going to invade on their own time, because Christ don't need them to take down the armies of the heavens. So you're going to have the angels that want a peace of the Gentiles. They're going to be on this earth delivering Israel as well as destroying their enemies. Christ is going to be basically by himself doing what he got to do. Okay, so there's going to be a full-scale invasion. Okay, on earth as it is in the land of Israel. Okay, now, when you go back, when it says the scorpions of the earth have power, you have to ask yourself this, like, what do scorpions do? When they bite you, or when they sting you rather with their tails, all right, they it's like venom. So this is referring to what nobody's really talked about. Like, yeah, you know there's nuclear war. Yeah, it's going to annihilate people on this earth through fire, but you got to understand something. There's also another form of weapon of mass destruction outside of nuclear warfare that is going to be utilized in the day of the Lord, that's also going to cause a lot of radiation problems. And that's called chemical warfare, biochemical warfare. Biochemical warfare, poisonous warfare, okay? Like nerve gas and things of that nature, stuff that gets into your immune system and destroys you from the inside out. This is going to be utilized also in World War III. Okay, venomous warfare. Scorpions got venom. Well, this army, this coalition is going to be using that as well. Okay, it's not just going to be weapons of mass destruction as far as nuclear warfare. Biochemical warfare is also going to be included. Okay, stuff that gets to your inside, stuff that what you breathe and inhale that kill you instantly on the spot or tortuously kill you within the hours. Make you bleed from the inside out and destroy all your internal organs. Okay, so that's basically what scorpions do with their venom. They paralyze you. So that represents biochemical warfare. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, venomous warfare, because the scorpion's tail has venom and poisonous. So poisonous warfare is also going to be included, okay, in World War III, which is not really talked about as much as nukes, but it should be included as well. Okay, so now let's go to let me see here. Okay, let me see something here. So this is Revelation 9. Right. Go to Revelation 9 and drop down to verse 10. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. So I'm going to get into that when I get down to verse 10. But the point is that the scorpion, okay, is a very venomous creature, okay, that stings from the tail. So basically, what these planes and what these armies and this coalition is going to come with is venomous warfare. Okay, that's what that represents. Venomous warfare being dropped from the skies. It's not just going to be nuclear bombs being dropped from the skies or bombs in general. It's going to be the type of bombs dropped out the sky that's going to cause people to cough and just die instantly, like radon roaches or something. It's going to be like that type of warfare coming from the tails. And they're going to drop that from behind the planes. That's why I keep saying the tail. Okay, they're gonna drop that behind the planes. Whatever type of chemical warfare is coming back from behind those planes or whatever's in the air. Them drones or whatever. They're gonna drop it on the inhabitants of the earth, and it's gonna pollute the people. Okay, and it's gonna pollute the people and make them die. These soldiers that's gonna come in to invade, they're gonna have gas masks on. It's not just gonna be literally them walking around, okay, with their face showing or their shades on, looking like Call of Duty. No, they're going to have gas masks on. They're going to be looking more like Starship Troopers from Star Wars. Okay, or whatever those creatures were in Vader's army. They're going to be having gas masks on with guns and stuff. They're going to come through with biochemical suits and bulletproof type vests or whatever. Because they mean to kill and destroy. That's why Christ told us not to go over to the land of Israel right now. Okay? Because there's going to be a lot of stuff. There's some stuff that's going to be going over there. Because you understand that they're going to... The army, the powers that be, wants to wipe out the so-called Zionists the Zionist regime. That's why the Ayatollah in Iran said that Israel's not going to be around in the next 25 years. See, everybody's worried about Iran with a nuclear deal, but you have to understand stuff. It goes beyond nukes, man. This is biochemical warfare at its finest. Okay, they're creating gases, poisonous gases over there that they mean to dump on Israel, man, and that land. Okay, and they're going to use the armies of Russia and China to get this done, man. This is some serious stuff that the Lord is prophesying is going to happen here through the Holy Spirit. That's why I wouldn't go. You couldn't pay me $1 million to go over the land of Israel right now. Man, I want to go to Jerusalem. We got to flee America. Let me tell you something, man. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going over there in the land of Israel, okay, that's going to be, you know, just as destructive as what's going to happen here in America. Okay, so Israel may not be where you want to run to, man. You just want to run to Christ. That's what you should be doing, because there's going to be destruction all over. Run to the Lord if you want to run to anywhere. He will be your salvation if it be His will. Okay, let's get Luke chapter 10, verse 19, man. Okay. And when you watch that movie Avatar, they had a helicopter called Scorpion too. And when they was trying to destroy that tree, where did they release that gigantic bomb from? What they call daisy cutters, from the back of the plane, which is like the tail. That's what they're going to release the poison on this earth from. They showed you that in that movie Avatar. That went over people's heads. That's why they're delaying to make part 2, because a lot of people started to pick up on them subliminal messages. They're going to make you forget about that movie for a while, then they drop part 2 down. Because that movie revealed a lot of stuff, man. The technology that this man has that he doesn't want, okay, people to really get the grasp of yet, because men like us is coming out with these scriptures, breaking it down. Okay, Luke chapter 10, verse 19. And it says right here, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions." So at the end of the day, that stuff is not going to affect us, because the Lord's going to be protecting the elect. For those Israelites that might be scattered over there in that region. And it says, "And over all the power of the enemy." So all the poison in the world that this man has to kill us, all these diseases, they're not going to kill the elect of the Lord unless it be the Lord's will. Okay? They're not going to stop this word. Okay? And nothing shall by any means hurt you. So that's why we shouldn't be worried. Okay? We shouldn't be worried at all, man. Okay? The Lord, through the Spirit of the Most High, His beloved Son, okay, He's going to protect His elect. And there's nothing that the enemy, which is the so-called white race and the elite of these Gentiles amongst them, can do to hurt us. He gave us power over the scorpions. So it don't even matter with these scorpion planes or whatever type of biochemical warfare they're going to drop on the people. They've been trying to kill us for years, and we still here, man. Because it'll be the Spirit of the Most High that be protecting us, man. Okay? Let's go to Revelation chapter 9 now. Okay, Revelation chapter 9. Okay, verse 3, "And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth," which represents the invading army from the air. "And unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power." Okay, so they come with biochemical warfare, poisonous warfare, gases, okay, things of that nature. Coming from the caves of Europe, going into Syria, invading Palestine, right into the land of Israel. Okay, so now let's read verse 4. Okay, now it says, "And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their forehead." So basically, like that agent, that star that we read in verse 1 is in control of that. That star that dropped down from the heavens onto the pit with the key. Basically, he's working on the minds of men, and the majority of the people that's going to die over there represent those that's not of the elect. Mainly going to be a lot of Gentiles dying. Okay, a lot of Gentiles are going to die in that region, and you got wicked Israelites and coon sambos that's joined unto them that want to be a part of this man's government and his army. You know, they're going to die. A remnant of them going to die there as well. But basically, all those is going to die there. Then they're not of the elect or the chosen, even amongst the Gentiles, because the Lord has elect amongst the Gentiles. He wants to survive, for us to spoil, for us to punish, and for them to serve. So those that basically going to die over there, you know, and going to be hurt by that poison and by that chemical warfare and that destruction from that army, are going to be those that are not sealed with the living power. So the Most High don't care about these people. Okay, so that goes to show you God doesn't love everybody, because it is prophesied there's certain people that the Lord's going to kill that, or allow to be killed, that are not part of His protection plan. They're not on a protection plan. Okay, that's what they're not on this protection plan. So that's the destruction is going to come during and after. Okay, of the prophecies. Now let's get Revelation 7:1 because it says right here that they shall not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men. So this destruction is not going to affect men. Because in that land region, you ain't going to have too many trees and stuff and grass and stuff, okay, of that nature. And then invasion, because the mountains don't have that. The caves of Europe don't really have too much of that stuff. It's very infertile over there, okay. But only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. Now, what does that refer to? Let's go to Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. Earlier verses in chapter 7, it says, and after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Okay, so that 4 wind represent the destruction. Like we just read in Revelation 9, the reiteration is, don't hurt the earth or the trees, or the sea, okay, which is in that region. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. Okay, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, so we have served the servants of our God in their foreheads. That was basically reiterated as a command, okay, in verse 4 of Revelation chapter 9. So that destruction is not going to come down until the men of the Lord are sealed. Okay, and I heard the number of them which was sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So men really want this destruction to come. Men really want to make it into the kingdom. Men really want America to be destroyed, and men really want all the enemies of Israel to seal. So go seal the 10 tribes then, dummy. Okay, what are you doing? Dealing with these African, Negro, Nubian Bates. What about the Native and Seminole Indians and the Latinos? Are they being sealed? Okay, are we focusing on the Southern Kingdom and the nonsense with the nigger woman all day? Or the 10 tribes being sealed? No, right? Well, that's why we're still here. It's your fault. Because guess what? Until the 10 tribes are sealed, none of this is going to happen. Until after they are sealed. Now, guess what? The Lord's going to light a fire on men's asses, and they're going to get out there and get them 10 tribes. And them 10 tribes that's in the nation already, they're going to come out from under Judah's thumb, and they're going to say, we need to seal our brethren of the northern kingdom, more so than dealing with these Nubian madness niggas and Native and Seminole Indian debates and summits are not even brought out. Everybody just want to be amongst Negroes all day, and that's not going to get the job done, fellas. Our job is to go out there and seal all the tribes of Israel. All of them. Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Reuben, all of them. Joseph, all of them. Men think just because they got a couple Puerto Ricans amongst them, that represents, yeah, we got 10 tribes. No, you don't. Okay, and stop that. And those couple Puerto Ricans amongst them, they just want to be about the nigger woman and the black people all day. You done neglected your own brethren of your own damn kingdom. Okay, that's how sad it is amongst this damn pathetic nation right now. But guess what? The Lord said, until the servants of the tribes have been sealed, nothing's going to hurt the earth or the sea or the grass or anything. So basically, if you're comfortable in America and you're comfortable being who you are, then you're just going to continue to be just a Black Pantherless, Negro socialist, black, red, black, and green movement type thing. And a lot of these men are like that. They got good jobs. They're under their black woman, and they're happy. They don't really deep down inside. They don't. They run a battle with these Sonetta niggas all day. They don't care about the Christ coming back and the destruction. They just comfortable just being amongst these red, black, and green cross-color 1990 movements. They cool with that. They cool with that, man. Left up to them, they'll live in the 90s all day and be about that cross-color car canai FUBU for us, by us type Negro spirit. They love that stuff. Christ not going to return? No problem. You got men call themselves Kemetic Hebrew Israelites now. It's sad and pathetic amongst you niggas. But guess what? The Lord's still going to get his elect anyway. There's 700,000 men that have not bowed down to Baal, which is also representing a nigger woman today. They haven't bowed down to her neither. And they're going to be about sealing all the tribes. And they're going to be about the 10 tribes and Native and Seminole Indians and the Latinos. And they're going to equally and more so aggressively go out to seal them, more than trying to deal with these Negro Nubian debates, and more about pleasing a nigger woman. Okay, that's what these men are going to be about. Okay, so regardless of what you're trying to do and accomplish, because Satan is in you, the men of the Lord are going to seal all the tribes of Israel and all his elect. And when that occurs, then you're going to start seeing Russia moving closer and closer into Israel. Okay, see, everything is like a balance. When men start doing this, the Lord will allow this to happen. Okay, so since men want to do this, the Lord's all right, these niggas ain't waiting for me to return yet. Even though everything is on schedule anyways, it really don't matter, because the Lord, because you're going to have men that's going to be like me and become psychos in righteousness and just go out there and say, the hell with the North Southern Kingdom. We're just going to focus on the Northern Kingdom and create more balance in the nation of Israel. Okay, since men want to be infatuated with Negro debates and have summits in Negro-based areas, we're just going to go to Oklahoma. We're going to go different parts of Cali. We're going to go to Texas. We're going to go, and hey, we got some money. We're going to travel to South America. We're going to learn the Spanish. We ain't going to focus on the Hebrew that much. Okay, we're going to get the Spanish down. We're going to start teaching and prophesying in different tongues like Spanish and start getting these damn 10 tribes in. Okay, the brother and I was prophesying out there, okay, over there in Los Angeles, and half the people didn't even understand what the hell we were saying because they was curious because they saw, okay, Marshall and I, we was out there, they was curious because they saw the signs, and they was like, they tried to speak in English so bad, but they couldn't. We're not that fluent in Spanish. We couldn't really reach them like that, but they got a little bit of understanding, but imagine if we knew the full damn Spanish, man. Okay, imagine that Satan caused that hindrance of language, okay, to become a barrier. So that's why we get on you 10 tribe men. You damn Latinos in the nation of Israel, stop being a damn doja for Judah and get your ass out there and get the Northern Kingdom brethren, man. When you see Judah want to prophesy another damn son out of debate, leave Judah ass right there and get your ass out there and seal your Northern Kingdom brethren. Say, nah, man, I can't fuss with that, Shalom. Get your ass out there and get the Northern Kingdom brethren. Get those Latinos in. Get those Native Americans in. Get them Seminole Indians in. That's your damn job, man. Okay, damn, like the damn strangers of the Gentiles that cleave the monsters of the Old Testament. That's how a lot of these men in Israel have caused you damn 10 tribes to become. The hell out of here, man. Just a bunch of damn doges. Get your ass out there and seal your Northern Kingdom brethren, man. Okay, I can't do this by myself. I need y'all men help. Get your ass out there and seal the Northern Kingdom brethren, man. You got brothers out there scattering and stuff. Men know the Spanish. Get your ass to Puerto Rico. Get your ass to South America. Get over there, man. Teach them, man. You see these Negroes want to have another damn debate in Charlotte, North Carolina, or want to have some type of black family movement somewhere in Greensboro, North Carolina. Stay far away from these niggas. They got Satan in them, man. Okay, they're not trying to seal the tribes of Israel. Okay, they're just stuck in the 1990 Cross Colors movement. Niggas home all day watching Martin and stuff. Red, black, and green 1990 movement. That's what these Negroes still are, man. The hell out of here. Now, Revelation chapter 9, verse 4. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So that represents non-Israelites. Those are Gentiles. And it can also go into the wicked, okay, amongst Israel, which are not of the elect that Christ was talking about in Revelation 7, that need to be sealed. Okay, so now Israelites only will be protected from this war. That's the bottom line. Israelites are sealed in this knowledge will be protected by what's going to happen in Revelation 9. Okay, let's get Exodus chapter 8, verse 22. So that cut to Cunalites out there that want to say that all nations are going to be saved. Yeah, these nations are going to be saved. They're going to be saved to build up our kingdom. They're going to be our servants. Okay, Esau is going to be our slaves. The dark nations are going to be our servants. Yeah, you forgot to include that part. But the only ones that's going to be in the hierarchy of the earth to come will be the Israelites. Okay, Exodus chapter 8, verse 22. And I will sever in that day in the land of Goshen. The land of Goshen was the area in Egypt where the Israelites were located at, separate from the ancient Egyptians at that time. So, just like the Most High caused that division back then, He's going to cause that division over there. Okay, He's going to separate, because I know you got a small group of Israelites over there in Dimona. Okay, the Most High may separate them from that destruction to come, just like He did with ancient Goshen. Okay, but basically Goshen represents the nation of Israel wherever they scattered at. They're going to be separated from wherever that destruction is going to come. So it don't really matter where you are. Fleeing the Babylon doctrine, that stuff is off. If you want to leave America, go ahead. Nobody's saying stay here. But you can't say we off and we're going to be destroyed unless we leave America. That's not in the scriptures. And it says, in which my people dwell. So wherever the Lord's people was dwelling at, they were delivered. Just like it was in ancient Egypt when the Lord brought that plague on them. That no swarms of flies, just like the locusts in Revelation 9, shall be there. All right? To the end, thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. Now, verse 23. And I will put a division between my people and thy people. So tomorrow shall this sign be. So that's why, you know, when we read Revelation chapter 9, let's go back to it. When we read Revelation chapter 9, verse 4, it says, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, just like it reiterated in Revelation 7, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So that represents non-Israelites, because we read Revelation chapter 7, verse 4, it tells you the number of them which were sealed with the living God seal was the 144,000, which are all men of the nation of Israel, 12,000 from each tribe. And if you want to be technical, 108,000 of them are 10 tribes, Latinos and Native and Seminole Indians. The bulk of our nation is made up of them. So stop focusing so much on sealing the southern kingdom, and let's focus more on dealing with the northern kingdom, man. Okay? That's what we have to do. And you northern kingdom that's amongst Judah, you got to stop being a bunch of doges and puppets, man. Bunch of doges, man. Have a mind of your own. Know what the hell Judah's trying to do here. They got Satan in them right now. First, the Most High used them to raise up the tents of Judah first. Now Satan don't give a damn whether or not another Negro come in his kingdom in his truth or not. Satan is trying to make sure the Latinos and Native Americans don't come in. They're going to put this man Donald Trump in office. Now this man Donald Trump, he's no longer on Celebrity Apprentice now. Arnold Schwarzenegger took over his role. Another luministic man. The Illuminati just may put Trump in office. And his main focus is not on Negroes, he's focusing on Latinos, mainly Mexicans, and anybody else south of the border. That goes, it's going to filter to the Central and South Americans too. He don't want no more of these people coming to this country because he know that right here in America, mainly here in North America, the word of the Lord is going out, man. Okay? So Satan said, you know what? Let another nigga come in this truth. I don't give a damn. Because I'm just going to send a black woman on them and cause confusion. She's my #1 lieutenant anyways. Niggas love her. I'll send another one of them on there. Make sure she has a fat ass and say shalom sister after dealing with several men in Israel, or shalom sister after being a hoe. Cause confusion. So I'm just going to send another nigga woman in there and they're going to debate over who got the biggest banana and bone for her. Meanwhile, the 10 tribes of Israel not being sealed. No one's talking about debating on Native and Seminole Indians and saying that they're not Israelites. For those men that are saying that, no one's doing that. No one cares. I'm just going to cause more confusion in their schools. Black women going to rise up and say, oh, you supposed to take care of me. You're a broke nigga, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the Native and Seminole Indians are not being sealed. And I'm just going to cause confusion. I'm going to put this guy Trump in office to make sure that nobody comes in this North American country more the 10 tribes. Because the more 10 tribes that come in this country, the probability of them mathematically will become more sealed. When men do come into their senses and being blinded by this nigga movement. Okay. Yeah, so Trump just may come into office. That's what it's looking like. Okay? And he don't like 10 tribes. He hates them, man. He hates them with a passion, man. He said Mexicans ain't nothing. He said Puerto Ricans ain't nothing but Mexicans to him. Okay? That's what he said. So at the end of the day, he's Satan himself. He's red as hell too. His main agenda is against the 10 tribes. See, men too stupid to see that. They're too stupid to see that, man. Get away from the nigga woman's mind state, man. Get your ass in these scriptures, man. Most High open up your mind, man, like a flashlight. You'll start seeing the visions. Like the scripture said, you will no longer be ignorant of Satan's devices. You don't see what the hell is going on, man? Unfreaking believable, man. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. Okay, let's get Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4, man. This is lovely, man. All I can do, hey, can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Ezekiel chapter 9, Mashal and I, we already said, man, we have other camp zones. There's going to be predominantly 10 tribes, man. I'm telling y'all brothers, man. Y'all men in New York, y'all should be in the Bronx all day, every day. Y'all should be in Corona. Y'all need to leave Jamaica, Queens alone, okay? Y'all need to leave these damn areas in Harlem alone. Yeah, leave Harlem alone. Okay, leave Harlem alone. Get your ass to Corona. Okay, get your ass in damn near Washington Heights, Sunset Park. Okay, get your ass, okay, in the Bronx. Anywhere in the Bronx is good. Bronx is filled with 10 tribes and Negroes. That's like the best zones in New York will probably be in the Bronx. A mixture of both Judah, Southern and Northern Kingdom in the Bronx. That's like a perfect mixture. Keep your zones in the Bronx. You got zones in the Bronx, don't give them up. I know a zone in the Bronx. Brothers want to know, you could go over there. That's a zone me and Marshall lived. I could go up there and teach, man. You take that zone, man. We have plenty of 10 tribes that came through there mixed with Judah. Okay? Beautiful zone. Okay? Yeah, most of them are going to be rebuked and condemned, but guess what? You have a it's mathematical. Y'all men got to start being mathematicians, man. Okay? Come on, man. Use your damn brain. This ain't algebra or calculus, but it's arithmetic, probability, okay, percentage. This is easy stuff here. Okay, the probability of 10 tribes being sealed, Southern Kingdom among them being sealed, will go greater in areas where there's more of them. I mean, it's like, you can teach that to a child, man. But Satan got a hold on men, using his lieutenant, you already know who she is, to hinder men. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto you, men are too busy rebuking men, okay, for dealing with women of the other nations. They're not even trying to seal the 10 tribes. It's worrying about who I'm sticking my rod into, who's pleasing me every night. The nigga woman ain't, so we went somewhere else. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So men are not supposed to be content. Men are not supposed to be pleased in his kingdom. They're supposed to be mad and upset to the point where they sighing and crying for all this filthiness and homosexuality and wickedness that's going on, man. Okay, verse 5. Okay, and it says, and to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Okay, so when the angels seal the seal of the living power in their foreheads, which is their mind, no, it's not a microchip. The fact of the matter is their mind has been sealed to serve the Lord and not the beast. Opposite of the seal of God is a mark of the beast. The seal of the God is the opposite of the mark of the beast. Okay, and the mark of the beast is opposite of the seal of God in Revelation. It's not talking about a chip. When the Most High put this sign or seal on your forehead, it represents that your mind is idealistic towards the cause of the Lord and not the cause of America and the beast. Okay, so if you don't have that mind state, you're like you sighing and crying for all the wickedness that's being done. If you okay with what's going on here and you don't care about what's going on and you say to each his own, or it don't bother me, then you got the mark of the beast. You're of Satan. You are going to be verse 5 and 6, which is not going to exclude your children because it says slay utterly old and young. Don't matter. Both maids and little children. Don't matter. And women. A lot of that. Most I don't give a damn about a pretty ass, a big ass, or woman. Okay? Most I don't give a damn. But come not near any man upon whom is a mark. Notice it says men. Because the Most I don't give a damn about the woman. You may want to focus on the women of the other nations that we fucking. Okay, the Most High says, come not near any man, okay, upon whom is a mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began after an ancient men which were before the house. Okay, so the elders are going to be the ones that's going to be judged and dealt with first in this nation. And it's going to trigger down to the younger men, okay, when you get the understanding. So, let's go back to Revelation 9, verse 4. Okay, we're going to close it out on that verse for this topic. Part 3, Most High will, I'll conclude with Revelation verse 5. So Revelation chapter 9, verse 4, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So I'm going to close in on that. No. Men have to get out there, if they can, when they are out there, and focus on sealing the 10 tribes of Israel to balance out and to be the equilibrium of the Southern Kingdom movement that's being pushed here in the nation of Israel, so the Most High could start bringing that destruction over there in the caves of Europe, and that Russian massive army could start to include to get those bastards out, and World War III could start being propelled, and Christ the Messiah could come back with the legions of angels that want a piece of the action as well, and invade the earth so they could deliver and save Israel. Because nothing's going to happen until men are sealed in this truth, of the 10 tribes mainly included. So with that, I say shalom. But like I always like to say, Isaiah chapter 48, verse 22, there is no peace there of God unto the wicked.